Katakuri and Luffy. Not only a great fight, but a great interaction between two opposites. The man that is trapped by perfection and the man that is completely free. When we first get introduced to Katakuri, we get introduced to sort of a mythical man, someone who's never lost, someone who's never laid on his back, someone that can see into the future. He's unbeatable. Later on, we learn that this is actually a persona that he has built up himself. When he was young, he was bullied for looking a bit different from others, but he never cared. As his big brother said, you could make friends if you covered your mouth, but he said he doesn't care if they laugh, he will just beat them up. Started to change when people stopped bullying him and started going after his siblings because they understood he's too strong to mess with. So let's go after his siblings because of him. And his younger sister Ruli got scarred for life because of this incident that happened when she was just a child. After that, he changed. He started presenting himself different, covering his flaws, being perfect, never showing weakness, being ruthless. Why? Because he wanted to protect not only the image of his siblings, but actually protecting them. And that's why and how he built up the persona of being invincible and unstoppable. If you want to do anything against the Charlotte family, not only will you see Big Mom, forget about Big Mom, you will face Katakuri. He will find you no matter what. Villains usually underestimate Luffy simply because of his appearance. Katakuri doesn't. The moment he met him, he said, I will take him down himself because I can sense he will become a big threat to Big Mom. We see it again. The army says, why are we waiting for the Straw Hats at their boat when they're being chased by Big Mom? They won't survive. And he says, just in case. Or from his own words, I refuse to underestimate you. Why? Because he doesn't judge Luffy off his appearance. He simply judges Luffy off his reputation and what he can actually do, the same way he doesn't want you to judge his appearance. But you also understand that he's actually trying a lot to keep up the persona. When Pedro died, he also blew up his brother Perospero, and you can see how he has a nickname for him, which shows that he's actually very close to him. And this persona was after all built up to protect his siblings, and we see that he gets pretty irritated that all the Straw Hats express their emotions very freely, they cry for Pedro, but he has to keep up the persona. As he says, what's with all you people getting emotional? I've been a bit on the edge, that he was at the end of his patience, and every day the same time he needs to have a break where he can be for himself. And then we see what his break is for. He can lay on his back, he can be himself by himself. And after that, Katakuri went from being pretty much impossible to beat, as he was a faster, stronger, pretty much improved version of Luffy in every aspect when it comes to fighting, to actually being beatable when he lost his composure. As he said, as long as I'm cool, I am effectively invincible. And Luffy said, I will expose your weakness again, you are beatable. And now Katakuri is slowly trying to understand Luffy's motivations, because Luffy returned when he actually could have escaped. And he asks him why. Why, when you are so much weaker than me, why would you struggle this much? Because for him, everything is about not showing weakness, as Luffy is currently doing. And they both are a bit similar, that they want to protect their crew, their family. The difference is Katakuri has to put up a persona in order to do it, while Luffy's crew believe in him even if he is not perfect. And then here Luffy shows one similarity to Katakuri in that he shows fake strength to not worry the crew. But the difference is he does it to not worry them because they will try to help him. Katakuri has to show fake strength because that's the only way that they will actually like, and the only way that he can protect them. And as I said previously, Katakuri needs to be calm and collected in order to fight at his full potential. Luffy is actually not that talented when it comes to observation haki in total, but as Rayleigh said, he's very talented when it comes to sensing people's feelings. Rayleigh said to Luffy, there are people so strong in the new world that they can see into the future. What will you do when you fight someone like that? And Luffy said, it depends on what they're like. Rayleigh said, I've never even thought about that. Why do you care about an opponent's personality? And Luffy says, that's very important. And ultimately, that's how Luffy learns future sight, because unlike other fighters like Rayleigh, who would analyze the fight, how will I move when he can see the future? Luffy tries to learn why and how Katakuri can see the future. He senses what makes Katakuri strong. He's calm, he's collected, he has patience. What makes Katakuri weak? He gets stressed, he gets irritated, and those are the feelings that Luffy wants to have and doesn't want to have, and that's how he ultimately learns observation haki. Katakuri is starting to respect Luffy more and more, but because of his sister who interrupted the fight, he got in this critical hit on Luffy. Katakuri first got a bit disappointed in Luffy, but when he realized it was his sister that interrupted the fight, he stabbed himself. Katakuri said sorry for her interrupting the fight, and Luffy said, I should have avoided it. When it comes to a fight between two pirates, everything is allowed. But Katakuri understands that Luffy would never play that foul. He knows that Luffy understands this is just how the world works, and he's still going to act the same. And then he says, I no longer assume that you are inferior to me. Now it becomes a clash of ideals. Katakuri wants Luffy to show him that he's wrong. When he previously would have killed Luffy if Luffy was on the ground, he says, is that all you've got? Stand up. Katakuri started to understand one thing about Luffy is that he expresses everything. I'm hungry, it hurts, I'm in pain. And he says, what are you saying? Luffy says, everything I'm thinking, it feels better that way to express yourself. After their last attack, Luffy falls on his back, Katakuri falls forward. After they fall, Katakuri asks one last question. Will you come back to topple Big Mom? Luffy says, of course I will be king of the pirates. And he said, you're looking quite far into the future. And we see Katakuri, the man who has never fallen on his back, fall on his back. And Luffy giving respect and covering his face. We see his sister ask him, why did you fall on your back? And he says, I don't really know. And for the first time, like Luffy, he actually expressed what he thought. And I think he gave up and fell on his back because he understood that even if he could see the future, he always limited himself and could never think beyond what he could do in the future. Luffy couldn't see the future, but never limited his imagination, never limited himself.